Hey everybody, it's Sam here. Thank you for watching today. So I'm going to show you how I've made this really lovely, it looks like a tea caddy, that's how it's ended up looking, but it's filled with chocolate. So this is my selection box that I like to make. I make different ones each year and I'll share the selection box playlist up in the corner there, but I am actually going to be making another one as well because I have 2 ideas this year. But as this came together, it reminded me of a tea caddy. So it's got 4 drawers, and if I just do it this way, you can see you've got different chocolates, and you don't have to have chocolates in these. You've got Mars bars, and then we've got some Kit Kat chunky there. You can obviously fill this with anything you want, but the top one here, there's a little magnet behind this piece here, and you have another tray, and then I'm going to have a gift card stuck here. I always like to put a gift card on the lid of the selection box so they get a load of chocolate, and then their main kind of gift is the gift card. But you can see that, you can just hear it snaps into place there. If I hold it that way, you can see it a bit better. So the magnet's just behind there and just under this piece here. You can see that snaps shut. Finished it with this beautiful bow and a little gift tag there, and then I've got a handle. Now the handle's optional, you don't have to add that at all. You can imagine, you know, without it, it's this lovely little box. So if you maybe want to make it, maybe not in Christmas papers, but give it as a Christmas gift, it's a lovely little storage box as well. It could be filled with jewellery, smaller pieces, and yeah, anything you want. So let's get started. So this is the paper pad I've used. It's the Dovecraft Christmas Tales. This is a couple of years old, but I will share links if I can find them. So first of all, we'll start off making the case. So that's this piece here, and then this is the drawer. You'll see that slides in nicely. So to make the case, you want 2 pieces of 6.5 by just over 6 inches. So it's not quite 6 and 1, which is that first marker on your scoreboard, just over. All it is, can you see there's a little lip just so that drawer can sit snugly inside the case. If we have it exactly the same, then if I push down, can you see it? It sits on the top of the drawer. If you do it exactly the same, it's going to go like that. You're going to find your top piece of cardstock will bow and fall inside, and obviously we've got the weight going on top. So by just having it slightly bigger than 6, so that I think hopefully that will, you know, help you with that measurement to see what it's going to be doing. You can see when that drawer is pushed in, now that top piece sits on top. So it's just a very, very slight overhang. So you want 2 pieces of that measurement. Along the 6.5 side, you want to score at 1 and 6 inches. And then along that slightly larger 6-inch length, you want to score at 1. Okay, so again at 1 and 6 along the long side, and then just at 1 along that slightly shorter side. Okay, so 2 pieces of those. Okay, next you want to fold and burnish all of the score lines. And then you want that 1/2-inch tab on the right hand side, and you want the 1-inch tab along the bottom, and you're just going to remove that corner like so, and then just take a little bit off of each end there, and then you're going to come up here and just cut up that one, and then take a wedge off of each of the sides. So you're going to keep that one so they're nice and straight. On the second one, you want to cut into it. So again, cut away just like you did before, cut the edges, but then also cut into this one. So I'm just going to cut across there, and then cut across that one, and then cut across that one. So you've cut them all the same, but with this one here, or one of them, you just slightly come in, taking a little wedge off of the corner, because this is the one that's perfectly straight will be the last one we stick down, so we have that nice finish on the back here. You see it's just nice and neat. Because we've cut the ends off of this piece, it means it's concealed underneath that, so you've got nothing hanging out. So you're going to need 8 pieces if you're going to do all 4 drawers like I have, but you may just want to make this, pop some pattern paper on. That's a nice little gift box on its own. Then you only need the 2. So now I'm just running some glue down one of the sides here. This is the Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue. Art glitter glue is pretty similar. And then just make sure that's secure, and just burnish that, and then flip it over, fold that whole piece over, and then add your glue all down here, and then fold that one. again, just burnish that well. And I like to fold them back that way and then back again, and again on that side. Okay, now this is the bottom, so you'll see you've got that one where you've just cut into it. You want to pop that one down first. And now I'm going to use my stronger glue. This is the Collall all-purpose construction glue. So I'm just going to cover the bottom there. And then I'm going to fold in each tab. Add a little bit more glue on top of those. And then I'm going to close that. So you've got your side tabs all concealed. And you've got nothing hanging over the edges there because we've taken all those edges off. And then inside it's nice and neat, although you can't really see in there, but you've just got that one long piece rather than seeing the tabs. Okay, so next we're going to make the drawers. So again, you're going to want 4 pieces if you're doing all 4 like I have. Now, first of all, cut them to 7 by 7. Once you've cut it to 7 by 7, you then want to cut a little bit more off again, but I think it's easier to just get it to 7 by 7 first, because I know sometimes people get a bit unsure of like the 16th eighths of an inch and things like that. Now, I don't want to use those measurements today, so I'm doing it this way just to break it down a little bit. So 7 by 7, but you'll see now mine's just slightly under. So whatever you have, because everybody's got different cutting tools, but between my inch here, you have these very small lines all the way along. They're your 16ths of an inch. There's 16 of those within that inch. Then you've got the slightly taller ones. That's then the 1/8, the 1/4, 3/8, the 1/2, 5/8, 3/4, and then the 1 inch. You just want to cut it so it comes just, so say I said a piece of 5 by 5, you want to bring it down to then that little marker just there, just underneath. So if I just see if I can get all this in shot, if I just bring in my piece of 7 by 7, which I've already trimmed. So you're just shaving a little bit off because we need it to fit in that drawer. But can you see it doesn't help so much on this trimmer, because where the 7, it's just where this hinge joins. But you can see there, it's just under. It's that next little marker down. Am I all in shot there? Yeah, I am. I think so. Now, when you've done that, you then want to score at 1 inch on all 4 sides. When you've scored it, just burnish, you know, the sides like this, and get your tray and just check that it slides in. You can see there, that slides in perfectly. If that is too big and it's really kind of moving around, that's fine. You want a little bit of a rattle there, but if it's really moving, then you've maybe cut too much away and it's going to move around when you've made all the drawer up. So we've cut that away, so we've got our width right, but now you'll see you might have the height be a bit snug, because this is 1 inch and this is 1 inch. So if you feel that it is too snug, I would now suggest cutting, let me grab my other trimmer, cutting the smallest amount off of all of the ends. And when I say small, it's even smaller than what you've just taken off there. It's literally a slither. If I just hold that, can you see? It's the smallest amount, but just taking that tiny, tiny piece off is going to allow you, it's not even a 16th of an inch, it's that minor. But it just means we're going to have such a nice movement with the drawers. So these are just little, you know, a few little tips to get that all working how we want it. Okay, so you can see my 4 very thin pieces there that I've just cut away. So hopefully that's broken down the drawer for you, because it can be quite confusing sometimes, I think, when all those other measurements are thrown in. So I just thought, just stick with those and then just kind of tell you what you need to do rather than worry about the measurement. So I'm just rubbing out my little reminder that I had there. So fold and burnish all of those score lines, and then we're going to cut up this end here. So just choose a side, it doesn't matter. And then that one. So we've got those 2, and then flip it so you're working on the opposite end or side, and just cut up like so. And then you're just going to take a wedge off of the sides all the way around there. And then again, we take our glue pop it on one of the tabs, and you're just going to bring it around and bring up that side there, and just make sure you've got a nice right angle, and just repeat that on the other corners. So that's the tray all done. So now you can just slide that inside, and you will have a little lip. You can see there my little bit of overhang, so that drawer sits nicely in there. If it's a bit funny one way, try it another. I think I prefer that way. And then once we've decorated all this with our pattern paper and stuff, you can see how that all looks. Okay, so do that 4 times. You can maybe do even more if you want to have a taller one. You don't need to keep it, you know, the exact same as mine. You could double this if you wanted to make it into a real storage piece. That would look quite cool. Also, I just want to say, if you've got the Hunkydory Scoreboard, this actually does make boxes for you, so it works out the lid and then like a drawer or something that's, you know, smaller, that's got to go inside or over the top. It does this for you. It has these little, I think it's this side here, but I never talk about that because not everyone has this scoreboard. But if you do, then obviously, and you know what you're doing with that, then use that to help with those measurements. So I've got my other ones here all ready, and I've already decorated the fronts here. So for that, I've just cut myself. So I've got these pieces here to decorate, and these are 3/4 by 4 3/4, I think it was. Yeah, so you'll want 4 pieces. And then for the handle, this is a piece of 2.5 by, it was 3/8 of an inch. And then I just scored at 3/8 of an inch at either end. So 3/8 of an inch, and then just flip it around and score that again. Before you fold it, just use your bone folder to create that arch, and then fold out the sides there. And then there's your little handle. So I'm going to stick this on first, and I think now I use the Collall glue for all the mats and layers, because this is just going to now start to add lots of strength to the project. So I'm just going to sit that down in the middle there. You could hole punch here and have ribbon, so you've got little ribbon pulls. You might have some real hardware that you can attach, but I'm going to use these. I just thought they looked quite cute. And then I think I came in 1 1/4, or was it 1 3? No, 1 3/8 I came in from the side. So I'm just going to stick one first, and then use my ruler, sit that at the 1 3. You could do 1 1/4 if you want an easier measurement there, and just pop that. Now, because I've got this gingham paper, it's got the line, so it's easy now for me to just keep that there. So I'll just let that grab, and then come around to the other side, pop some glue under there, make sure that one doesn't shift, and then again just sit the ruler and then just drag that out to where it needs to go. And then I'm just going to, I don't want to pull on that just yet, so I'll just take that out like so. And then I've used these little discs here. I've just been using the gold ones, and I'm going to pop those on the end, but I'll do that in a bit. So we've now got the drawers, so we next want to stick these on top of each other. But another thing, when I was playing around and deciding, you know, how I wanted to go with this, you don't have to have them all stacked in front of each other like this. You could have them offset, so you could do something like that and still have the top bit that I'm going to show you as well. You could have something that looks like this. You could have each one opening on a different side like so. And if you've got like a Lazy Susan base or something that turns, and you could have it so it actually does, you know, like a little turntable. So, but I'm keeping mine like this. I just want that nice kind of tea caddy style. So again, using my construction glue, make sure I've got the drawers the right way up. I'm just going to cover the bottoms of all of them, well, apart from the bottom, very bottom one, because that you don't need to, but just start sitting those on top, and they will perfectly line up with each other. If you want to take the drawers out so you can get your hand in there to obviously spread that glue out a bit more, then you can go with this one here, and again like so. So get those all stuck down, and then we can move on to the top section. Okay, so they're all stuck down. Now, one thing I forgot to say, I knew I was going to forget, but you also want to add a hole punch into the second one down. So you might want to do this before you stick them all together. I say a hole punch, you can just pierce it as well. You basically want to add, you know, a brad through there if you're going to do the handle like me. So we'll do that next. So these here are 2 pieces of, I think it was 9.5. It was the width of the Lidl cardstock. That's the only reason I got this measurement, but it was 9.5 by 1.5. Yeah, 9.5 by 1.5. And again, I'm just going to pop a little bit of a curve into those. Now I've just used my corner punch and just taken the corners off there just to give it a softer look, and then I'm going to add my glue about 1/2 inch on one of the pieces, and then stick the other, we're working on the flat ends, just sit those over the top so it's nice and straight. So this is if you want the handle as long as mine. It does need to be, you know, pretty long because you want it to be able to, you know, fall back, so then you can open the top piece, but it could be a little bit shorter than that. I'd maybe take it down to 8.5, but I wouldn't really go any shorter than that, especially if you're going to decorate the top of it like I have. So that's that piece, and then I've got 2 strips of the same gingham pattern paper, and I'm going to stick one down like so. Maybe I did end up trimming it because that now is going to join and be a bit short. Yeah, I think I take 1/2 inch off of one of the sides. You get the idea, just follow the process. Like I said, the measurement can be anything you want in terms of the length. I think 1.5 is quite nice for the width, especially if you want to layer some pattern paper over the top. And again, I'm using that construction glue because the handle's become so strong now. And obviously it's got that metal brad, you know, holding it together, and there's a matte layer going on here as well, so it's a solid piece. I really do trust putting heavy items in it, although they're small. But maybe it's going to be like a little toolbox, and you're going to, you know, give some little tools. They can be heavy. I don't know, I'm trying to think of lots of other ideas that you can do with this. So I'm going to stick, yeah, no, that's fine. I'm going to stick this one just overlapping ever so slightly, so it just looks like it's one long piece. Just give that a moment to dry. So that's all I cut away, about just over 1/8 inch. It's a very small amount. Now as the glue's drying, just work that shape back in again, because again the glue will remember that and it will stay in that shape. So then I'm going to use my hole punch. Again, you don't need a hole punch, you can just pierce it with a pokey tool or something sharp, and I'm just going to pop a hole in the middle. You can see there, okay? So it's about 1/2 inch up and then in the middle of that piece, and then I'm going to grab my brads. So let's I might use red this time. Maybe I don't have any red. I've got the red shiny. Oh no, there we go. So we do that one and that one. And these are the stationary size. So these are the 8mm brads, but the smaller ones will work as well. But the larger ones, obviously, it's just going to be a bit stronger. So next, we want to add your pattern paper, but you don't have to add a whole piece. It wasn't those ones. You don't have to add the whole piece like I have. You might want to do strips of different paper, but this covers the whole section. So it is a nice way to show off those pretty papers. And these measure, so you'll want 2 pieces of 5 by 4 1/8. If you want to do individual, they'd all be 3/4 inch wide, and then 4 3/4 long. So actually the same as the front of the drawers. And you might be doing all of yours in pattern cardstock. Some of the paper pads, they're like a 280 GSM. Then you wouldn't need to add any mats and layers because it will already be decorated. But you'll see there, that covers that, and that's just going to now start to strengthen all of that. And again on this side. If your drawers are a little bit wonky, maybe you're slightly out on a measurement, what I would do with the pattern paper here is I'd make it bigger than the whole section, have it all overhanging, and then trim around with your scissors, and that way you'll get a perfect fit. So now I'm working on that second drawer, and I am going to actually pierce it first with the pokey tool, piercing tool, whatever you want to call it. And I can feel the 1/2 inch join here. See that lip? If you feel that with your finger, and then I'm just going to see where the middle is here. I can feel now where I'm pushing, and obviously move your finger out of the way and just pierce through. That way I know it's in the middle of the drawer section here, and it's in the middle of this whole piece in terms of the width. Obviously it's higher up because it's working on that second drawer. And then I'm going to take the brad, pop it through there, and then you would just then push it through and make that hole bigger if you can't get this in. But if you take the legs off, if you've got one of these, so the legs will slide off, and then it will fit in your drawer perfectly. And then just line it up, and now I've got that neater hole. And then just pop that through, and that one in there, and then we're going to open it up, and then we're going to just pop some pattern paper inside so that the drawer, when it's opened and closed, doesn't catch. So yeah, you might, like I said, do this before you stick your drawers together. It is okay to do. You can see now I've got that in there. The drawer will still go in, but you might find it would catch every now and then. See, that goes in fine, but I would just pop a little bit, you know, a strip of pattern paper in there just to ensure that doesn't happen. So I'm going to do the same now on this side. Okay, so now we've got this. Now you might want to stop there, just add a nice pattern paper and keep it as a, you know, sweet looking box. But we're now going to add the top kind of section. So you want a piece of 6 3/4 by 6 1/2, and you're going to score at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So this one's slightly smaller, so we've just got a little bit of just that interest on the top. I didn't want it to all be the same, so I don't need to rub that out actually because it's going to be stuck underneath. So fold and burnish all of the score lines, and then we're going to pop this together the same way as we made the drawers. So just cut up the 2 opposite sides, take a little wedge off of the corners, and then stick them all in. Okay, so I'm going to pop this on high speed because you've seen me do this already, and then we'll move on to the case for this piece. Okay, so now we've got this piece, so you'll see that will sit. Now it's slightly longer. You've got the 4 3/4, wasn't it, by 4 1/2. Yeah, so the 4 1/2 is the width, the 4 3/4. Because what's going to happen is this box is going to be flush with the back, but you want that same kind of overhang on the 3 sides. You see there we've got it on the side and the front. Before we stick that down, we want to add the wrap to go around it. So again, this is kind of another project on its own. I've done similar before, but you can make this as a separate piece as well. So this piece here is 11 1/8 by 5. And we're going to score this piece. So you want to sit the tray, it's the easiest way to do this, sit the tray so that you've got an equal amount on the front, on the sides here, and on the front piece, okay? And it should line up with the 5 inch marker, okay? So we're going to just score at 5 inches. What you then want to do is burnish that one, because we want to wrap this nice and tightly around. So that now will sit perfectly on the top of here, okay? So that's the base. Pop your tray in and butt it up to the back. Okay, don't worry about the overhang here, but just make sure it's butted up. This is just purely to help you score. Pop it this way. Okay, so you've pushed it right up to that score line, and then push it right up into the corner of your scoreboard. And then grab yourself a pencil. Again, I don't want to be talking about the 1/16 of an inch. That's why I'm doing this. And I'm just going to put a pencil mark just above the edge here. And it's sitting in between the markers of 1 and then 1/8 of an inch, and that's again that 1/16, but it would be 1/16 of an inch. But if you do it like this a bit more manually rather than me just giving you the measurement, hopefully it just helps you understand it a little bit. So you'll see there it's literally right on that notch. But now I'm just going to shift it up to that track and then score. flip it over and score that again so they're facing the right way. But now we've got that, you know, it's that perfect measurement to wrap around that tray. So that's going to sit inside. Okay, and you've got the same overhang because we cut it to the 11 1/8. So there's the same overhang on each piece there. So then we can stick down one of these because they're both going to be the same. So I'm going to add my glue. So this is just now going to add some more strength. You could just stick this piece on and maybe not have that, but then you're going to see, you're just going to have a weird piece just overhanging at the back, whereas this just keeps it as one nice kind of wrap. So just stick that one down. I'm going to take that top drawer off just so I can get my hand in there a bit easier. And then more glue on here. Now, if you want, you can also glue this piece to there, but I like that it completely opens up. So I'm just going to keep it there and just move it around. So you've got, like I said, equal amounts overhanging the side and then the front, but the back, push that right up. So whilst that's drying, I've got more mats and layers. So I'm going to stick this piece in here, and then I've got these two pieces to go on the front and back of the flip lid there, I guess. So this one here measures 4.5 by 4 1/4, and then these are two pieces of 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and then you'll want to cut yourself two pieces of, yeah, because that's shorter, so it was two pieces of 3/4 by 4 3/8. They're going to go either side, and then you want one piece that is 3/4 by it will be 4 1/4. So I'm going to get all of this stuck down. So that's everything all stuck down. Now I just need to make the little closure with the magnet. You could put Velcro there as well if you want. You don't have to use magnets. So this is a piece of 1 1/4 by 1, and along the 1 1/4 you just want to score at 1, and then just burnish that. And then this piece here is just under 1 by 1, or just over 7/8 of an inch by 7/8 of an inch. You just want it slightly smaller than the back there, she says, and hers isn't. It's just to conceal the magnet. There we go, as long as it's smaller. So what you want to do first of all is add some glue onto the tab, and we'll get that stuck down. So you want to have it so it's kind of, you know, hanging inside this piece here, but you also want it in the middle, which is going to be roughly, oh it is, it's bang on 1 3/4 each side. And then you want to just drop that down, let it kind of grab, which it has, and then just stick that. And again, just check, yeah, oh now it's 2 because you're measuring it from this piece rather than that piece, which is smaller. So it's 2 inches in on this piece, 1 3/4 when you're lining it up on this smaller piece. Just make sure it's nice and straight. But you'll see now when you close that, it hugs this piece. So the magnets I've got lots of different ones in here. You can use the small ones. I went for these larger ones because they're very thin. You can see mine are all stuck together, so do be careful. So let's try these ones. I haven't used these ones in the bag. So these ones measure, they look like they're 12 mil, and they're like 1 mil. They're like 1 mil thick, so they're nice and thin, which is what you want. So just get a pair that's snapped together. Try not to let them snap because they can sometimes break. So I'm going to just separate those for a moment. Grab some of my red tape, just stick one, doesn't matter what side because you'll match them up again in a moment, but just pop your tape on the back there, and then I'm going to stick it inside this piece. Okay, and then in a minute we're going to cover that. Okay, so it's safe, it's all concealed. You don't have to. I mean, if you're giving this to an adult and there's no children around, then you may just leave it exposed, but I do like to cover them up. So that's going to close and the magnet's outside here. So this one we want to be stuck inside here. So you want to make sure you've got the right ones. So pop them together, but I want to put the tape in between, because it's going to now stick. Oh, you may want to pop your magnet outside here, but I want mine inside here, so that's why I'm doing it. Probably some of you are thinking, why is she making it so difficult? So now I'm going to pop the magnet, because I know where the halfway is there. Oh, so I just want to stick it in the middle like so, and now it snaps closed. Okay, so just, you can either have the magnet exposed here and then cover and then put the gold strip over. I like to keep mine inside, and then I'm going to put pattern paper in there. So I'm going to use the quick grab glue for this. I'm just going to pop it around the edges, leave a little bit of space there. It doesn't matter if glue goes onto the magnet. And then I'm just going to squash that around the sides. And then I've just cut the same size strip as I did for the gold on the front here. And then that is just going to go inside there. I'll pop it this way so you can see. And it just covers that magnet. And again, just squeeze it around there so it's completely covered. But like I said, you might want to add a Velcro dot. You may want to hole punch and have a ribbon tie. That will look nice as well. Whatever works. There's lots of ways to be able to attach that. But now I've got a really cute, once all the stuff's in it, little caddy. So I'm going to get my bow cut and my gift tag, and then we're done. Okay, so I've done my bow, and I've also cut this piece here, which is 3/4 of an inch squared. And this is going to just cover the middle section there, like so. The bow is made from this die here, which is Simply Made Crafts Ultimate Gift Bow. I have a tutorial showing you how to make this, so I'll link that now. But I have playlists as well showing you how to make other bows, so don't worry if you don't have that one. But that's going to go in the middle. Be careful when you add hot heat over something that you've already added glue to, because it could warp that cardstock with the glue, and then when that glue sets, it's going to set in that shape. So I'm going to add my hot glue, but then I'm actually going to let that cool for a little bit. So sometimes you see me shaking like this when I speed the video up. I'm just letting it cool so it's not as piping hot. The dazzlers, or the large embellishments in the middle there, are these dazzlers, which are old Creative Expressions. It's one of the charity shop finds, but any big embellishment will work. But again, give that a cool. You want to do this when your glue gun is obviously very hot. If you just turned your glue gun on and you're just starting to squeeze it out, then you can probably stick it straight on. But my glue gun's been on for a while. But now I can just pop that in the middle and just open that one back up. Yeah, I can hardly feel any heat through there, so that's not going to warp. And now that just finishes it off perfectly. I'm going to add a gift tag once I've found one. These ones are from Dear Santa, from Paper Mania. I think it was a couple of years ago. So there it is. I think they are wonderful. They will hold a lot of weight. You've seen the amount of chocolate that's in that, and that is pretty heavy. And it's holding it fine. But as I mentioned before, without the handle, you know, you've got a really nice little storage box as well. If you want to decorate it and make this the gift and put this in a gift bag, then you can do that. But that is the gift bag for me. I will be giving it to, you know, who I am giving it to, and trying not to say any names or anything, with, you know, the tag, and, you know, they'll have it like this. So hopefully there's lots of inspiration here for you on ways to adapt this to suit your needs. It doesn't have to be for Christmas. As I mentioned before, lots of ways to decorate this and make it for any occasion, really. Like I said, baby shower, I think it'll look wonderful in some really cute papers. But yeah, really pleased with these. I think they work wonderfully. And again, you can see all of the treats in there. And then the gift card, I'm going to just put a glue dot on the back of it and stick it in there. There you have it. So thank you for watching. As always, I will link as much of the product that I've used today in the description box below. Check out the playlist that I've been sharing and the videos that are popping up now, and I'll be back again very soon with more projects. Take care. Bye.